Hello, hello. Is it working? I guess so. Alright, start in a moment. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Let me just turn this down a bit. Let me just put these headphones on as well. Hopefully, there'll be a few more people joining shortly. But yep, it's another Saturday, so I'm going to try and do another little arty stream. Let me just get these wires out of the way. Okay, so I want to finish off what I was doing the other week, the last few weeks, which is let me just turn it down a little bit more. There we go. So it's not too overbearing. Just want to finish off a little bit more of what I was doing last week, which is the week before, which is the mix and match. I think I've only got one more piece to do, and then I might start redrawing one of the other ones, which is a bit more in tune with an actual jazz piece as well. But we'll work on that one a bit later. But yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, I've got another premiere coming out soon. I can't remember the exact day. I'll have to pin it in the comments below once the video's over. The next premiere, that's coming out soon. And the Joker one I released last week, I have done a commentary as well for that, so that will be coming out in a few weeks' time as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that. It's something new I've tried, which is to have, like a full speed art video followed by one with commentary in it, which will hopefully go into a bit more details as to my thought process while doing it. And it's something that I'm not sure if people are going to like or not, so I would appreciate your feedback on that when it comes out. And I will do it on a few other videos shortly. And I'm currently also editing one of the Dragons versus Kittens redraw that I actually painted in. So I'm going to be releasing that as well soon. And one other project I'm going to be doing is with the original Dragons vs Kittens one, which you'll see some videos of those shortly if you're not already, is the original drawings. I'm going to actually do some remastering of some of them as well. You know, improving on the things that I didn't have the skill to do at the time. So things like the facial features, just adjusting it a bit, repainting some of them. But I'll go through that when it gets closer to the time. But for today, we're going to carry on with the mix and match pieces. But before I do, I want to show you a project. This is not a secret project, but it's just a project I'm working on. This might not even be the final design, but I've redrawn. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm reimagining my dragon, because when I did this one originally, I was just thinking of a straight dragon on the Earth planet under a cave and stuff like that. But I'm thinking, because I'm more of a sci-fi, I err on the smaller side of sci-fi. More on the side of science fiction, it made sense to change him to be making him a bit more mechanical. So this is one of my concept ideas for my new logo. So I don't know what you think. Hey, Peter. Oh, you got my new little ship. Lovely. Little. Thanks for joining, bro. Appreciate it. Yeah, so this is one of my new concept ideas for the dragon. Now, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to use this particular one. I like the idea of it, but it's just one I'm toying with. But I was trying to do something a bit different, make him a bit more mechanical in form. So that's what I'm sort of going with this one. So we'll wait and see how it pans out. But that was just something I wanted to just share with you. Right, let me move this because I won't need that just yet. Change my glasses so I can see. Right, so I'll say for anyone that's watching, again, just a reminder, these pieces I'm doing are from competitions that Jazza used to do, the Jazza Studios, Aurora Jazza channel used to do, called the Challenge of the Month. Now, he stopped doing these, and all of these competition pieces have already been submitted, finalized, and prizes have been given out. So these competitions are not live. I'm just merely going back over the ones that I personally have done so far, and reimagining some of the characters for a new piece, a piece that I'm much more happier with and much more satisfied with. When you have a deadline and it's short, a competition is out there, especially when you're competing with so many other people. It's difficult to get to spend the time that you need to make it exactly as you envision it. And that was sort of the goal what I'm doing right now. So this is kind of a fix my art type thing. And over the last few weeks, I've been doing a lot of these remasterings or reimaginings of some of the other pieces. So I'm very quickly going to go through the redrawings of the ones we've done so far, and then I'm going to complete the one we started on last week. So just to recap, I won't bother with that bit. We had the Bug-Eyed Murderer, which was the concept piece for the actual competition entry, and these were the various versions that I did of him. And this was kind of the idea I wanted with him sort of hanging off the edge of a tombstone. So that's sort of where I was going with that one. This is the final piece that I entered in. So this is one that I actually sent through as part of the competition, but it got all coloured in and everything else. And then this is one we worked on last week. Now, I might, if we have time, I might just do the outline and just stick some of the lines out, give it a bit of line weight, but we'll see how time takes us. So that was a redrawing of that. Then last week, then the week after that, I was reworking on the pilot, the police pilot. Although I do love this character, I think he's amazing. And this was the final piece that I did. I know proportionally it wasn't quite right, so I've redrawn him to this much more aggressive and, in my opinion, much more formulated version of him. But I do love this guy. I think this guy looks really the part. So hopefully that will look brilliant inside the spaceship itself. Then following that, we did the policeman. We're holding the baton. Again, I like the idea of it, the character and everything else, but the pose was wrong. I just couldn't get the pose right. on the second attempt, which I have done some additional work to try and refine it. Again, the pose wasn't quite there, but it was definitely close to what I was looking for. And then the other week, finally got him done completely in a way that I'm happy with. And again, if we've got time today, I might just do some thicker lines on him, just bring him out a little bit. And then finally, last week, we were working on. In fact, before I do this, let me get the piece. We were working on this character that I was working on last week. So, for those who don't know, this is the character from Mars Attacks, and I wanted to have him into the main piece. But again, time and skill level didn't really permit that for me. But so we worked on that last week. So the first thing we did was, or I did rather, was just concept about four different poses for the character, to see which one was the best. And I think I decided that this one was the best pose of all of them. So this is the one I kind of went for, and this is what we've come up with so far. So what I'm going to do today is ink this one in. If I go back and ink those other ones in, and then again, depending on the time and how long that takes me, if we've got time, I might start doing one of the other competition pieces that he did to try and see if we can just check. Because if you can't hear me, then that's going to defeat the point of hello. Because the microphone's showing that I can't. You're picking up the music okay, but not anything else. All right, well, I'll carry on because one way or the other, you can at least see what I'm doing. So hopefully you can hear me. Let me just check something. One second. Yeah, you can. Okay, good. I was just a bit concerned you couldn't hear me. Oh, good. It's just the microphone on my screen wasn't showing enough dials, so I wasn't sure if it was picking up. Brilliant. Okay. All right. So let me get the my pen. Oops, my ink pens. One moment. I seem to always forget to get my ink pens ready when I'm doing this. I think I'm ready. I have all my pencils ready, have all my erasers ready, but I always forget to get the ink pens ready. This is silly of me. Anyway, here's my little really useful box pencil case. Okay, here we go. Is it clear, Pete? Oi, my brother being cheeky. Family, can't live with them and can't live without them. All right. Okie dokes, here we go. So I need my number one. Okay, you're my number one. Right now, that's the one. Yeah, brilliant. Okay. So here goes nothing. There we go. There's those little nostrils. These guys have kind of got skeleton style faces. I mean, the movie definitely goes up there. One of my favorite Tim Burton films. I mean, she was quite dark anyway, but this one's kind of very much more sci-fi. Usually he kind of does a very dark kind of gothic movies, but this one was much more science fiction orientated. Little teeth. Try to keep all the contours of his face as accurate as I can. He's kind of got these little ganglia things on the side of his skull. So there we go. So we've got his little brain. Well, I say little, it's not really a little brain, is it? Really? Good, good. I'm glad to hear it. Thanks, Pete. Or bro, brother. Of all the pieces on this, it's probably the most complicated. Not because it's detailed, but because it still needs to look like his brain. So try and make it look like grey matter, which is what it effectively is. Oh yeah, there was a cartoon that I saw being advertised, which I'm kind of really excited about. Actually, I can't remember who the actors in it are quite famous, but it's basically like a Gundam type movie. You know, like all these mech machine stuff, and it's like I really want to see that, but I can't go with what I work with for now. What's happened to the music? Oh, it's still going. It's still going. I thought it had stopped. And the thing about drawing circles is, in pencil, fairly easy. When you ink it in, though, that's when when it becomes difficult. Because you're finalizing all the lines. In some ways, it shows your errors if you haven't done the circle properly as well. So this is one of the soldiers. I did initially think about doing the Emperor, but I thought the soldiers got better costume. The soldier was just a bit more interesting to draw, so I stuck with the costume with him. Okay, so he's got this little armor thing, like I don't know what you call them, but the shoulder, the actual shoulder cuff, whatever you call it. You normally see it on Knights of the Round Table uniforms. So he's got one of those sort of things on him. Get this line as accurate and correct as I can. Boom. Okay. Now I'm going to start here because it needs to go inside the outfit. I want to make sure I'm hitting all the right points. Because his uniform is kind of a Michelin Man style outfit. I just want that to be clear. I think I kind of messed it up a bit there. The thing about inking in is you can make fixes, but obviously now it's permanent. So anything you do is that's it. It's done. There's no going back. Which can be a good thing and a bad thing. There we go. That's his oxygen tank. And hand one. There we go. That's his glove. Okay, starting to show signs of activity. I agree. It's called a guard. Thank you for that. Right, now, this bit here is going to be his spine. Now, normally this is not visible because he's wearing his uniform, but because what's happening to him, which I'll explain, which you'll see at the end, or at least when it's finished. His spine is actually revealed. Now, whether his spine looks like, I don't know. I really need to rewatch this film. It's been a while since I've watched it. I really need to watch it again. Okay, so now the vertebrae, which I think is what it's called. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's now going in the opposite direction. Now, I appreciate this is not a complete exact representation of the human body, but as long as you recognise that what it is, that's all that matters. Okay. Now, I've just realised this bit I've done wrong. So I'm going to use a bit of artistic license and correct it. There we go. That's it. Michelin Man. There we go. I wonder if Tim Burton will ever do a follow-up to this movie. Would be kind of cool, I think. I would certainly like to see it. And the other hand. I just remembered that the hand's got some sort of cover where the fingers pop out, which I forgot. That's it. Whew. We've got the same sort of cuff on the legs. As well as the same Michelin Man style trousers. Right, in fact, let me start from the bottom. Work my way up. Mm-hmm. There we go. Another trouser done. So he's almost there. It's one side done. Now the other. To be fair, the initial inking is always the most tricky. Once on the initial, it's not so bad. But when you start, it tends to be the most revealing when you got it. Particularly if you made a mistake, you didn't see it in the pencil stage. Inking in does reveal things. It's like, oh, great. But it's still good. You know, at the end of the day, we have the wonders of Photoshop these days, so it's not too bad. All right. So almost done. There we go. All right, so that's him done. So all I've got to do now is the gun. The gun. Now, with this gun, one thing I realised or feel like is I should have had it facing the other way. As it's flying in the air, I should have had it facing the opposite direction. But at the time, I didn't think of that. Which is a bit annoying on my part, but when I do take it into Photoshop, I will fix that and I'll swap it around. So it's not the end of the world, but I think it would look better if it was the other way around. Yep. And then there's this little pattern on here. There we go. Try to get this gun as straight as I can so that it looks right. And I'll try to get these things as evenly as possible. Right. By the way, I know I said last week I was watching Discovery. Really enjoying it so far. And what's been really cool is and right before I say it, if you haven't watched Discovery, close your ears for a few minutes because I'm not going to spoil anything specifically, but you might hear things that you want to kind of leave as a surprise. So I'm giving you 5-second warning that in the next moment I'm going to be talking about where the story is going at the moment. Again, I'm not giving plot lines or anything like that, but just something that's made the show that bit more interesting and more captivating for me. So here goes. I've noticed that they've gone into the Terran universe now, which is so. And there was a couple of standalone episodes that have finally come through, because up until this point, it's all been very much story arc. It still is a story arc, but it has been very much story arc orientated. But with the Terran introduction of the Terran universe, has produced a few standalone episodes, and I'm really getting into it. It's still not what I would consider typical Star Trek, and it's not really the family show that it once was, which it always has been up until this point. But it is actually good. I will say that it is good. Okay, so that's enough of that part. So if you could uncover your ears now, you'll be fine. If you haven't already, I'm not going to talk about that part anymore. But the show has definitely improved in terms of its enjoyability, and it's come along quite nicely. Yeah, so the next show to start watching once it's finished is Supergirl, which I haven't seen any of yet. So that's the next thing I'm going to look at. Okay, right, well, that's him inked in, I think, or initially anyway. So the next thing I'm going to do, first of all, is grab some orange apple juice. Yeah. And let's give some outline. Now I'm going straight for the 8 right now, and the reason I'm doing that early is I've realised that if I highlight the main things that I need, it will help me better to decide what level do I need for the rest of them. Because what I was doing was I was building up slowly, and then finding when I got to level 8, it made the picture look a bit flat. So I figured if I do the 8 first, the things I want to highlight first, and work backwards, then if something's going to be more, if the thickness of the pen is going to be too big for that particular part, then I can choose a lesser one. So but the long and short of it is, it will make it more obvious what ones that I need to what thicknesses I need to really use, so as not to overdo the picture. That's the goal anyway. Because not everything's going to be in your face. Now on here, this kind of helps me to fix any errors that I made where I've missed the line a little bit. And again, to help make things stand out. Okay. And we're going to make this whole side 8. Oops. Dang it. Because this bit's looking towards you. And I think this whole leg probably needs to be 8 as well. Both sides. So that it's coming out towards the camera, so to speak. And I will do this for the leg, the boot, so it just helps the boot to stand out against it. But you notice I'm not doing the inner lines because that's where the line weight comes in, because it just makes the picture look more interesting if you don't line it too much. Okay, yeah. Right, so I'm going to go into a 5 now. Do. So where's my 5? 5 is down here. Okay. The 5's just been the opposite side of the size 8s, just to help bring it out, but not obviously overpower the level 8. At least that's the goal. I messed this up. I'll have to clean that up in post, but let me clean it up on the picture at least. But that's made that line too thick. That's annoying. Okay. There we go. All right, and then I think that's that. I'll make this one a 5 as well. And then make the other arm a 4. Kind of messed that finger up a bit as well. So try and bring that finger out a bit more. That's it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we're going to go into a level 4 now. Let's say, because what I'm trying to do is not to bring too many things too far forwards, so it doesn't overpower the earlier thicker lines. We'll just highlight where it needs to be highlighted. Okay, that's good. Good. Now, I think possibly that could be a 4, the old spiny bit. Sorry, I always get quiet when I'm doing these little intricate parts. Okay, so that's all the 4s. So let's jump down to 3. Do 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 do. So we'll do the back leg. Because it's not so far back that it's not important. That's the cuff bit of the leg. I think I've done that wrong, actually, to be fair. But it's done now. Can't do anything more about it. Okay. As this dude will say, ang, 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 ang. Okay, that's that. And second part of the back. There we go. Obviously the jackety bit. And do the outer part of the gun, I think. I.e. the outline. Because I don't want to be too obvious that I'm looking at it. But it needs to still be there. Although I think this 3 might be running out of juice, so to speak. Right, nearly there. Okay, it's the last part of the gun. All right. Nearly there, nearly there. Okay, so last thing I'm going to do is the 2. Let's just get the final details in there. So, for example, this bit here. And this is just to sharpen it up a bit. Good. And then the last bit on this part of the gun there. All right. So I'm just going to give this a quick sign. And it's the 26/1/19. So there is my Mars Attacks alien. So that's him done. Him done in the bag, done dusted. Hi, Emma says hi. Hi back. So that's him. So it's him done. So let me put him aside. Let me get the other ones now that was need to ink in. So so just to recap, these were the in fact, let me just do a very quick recap on this one, just so that we can mark it. So basically, it was this guy. Redrew this guy to give the effect of him being done in by the bug-eyed alien. These are the different poses. I like all of the poses, but I think this one worked the best for what was happening to him. But I will refine these maybe for another piece sometime down the road. So that's him done. So putting him aside. So shove him underneath here. Let us look at which one we need to line ink in as well. So this one's the next one we need to ink in. So we'll pop that over there. Why is that there? That's not, should be there. Okay. 1 second. For some reason, I've mixed them up. I've mixed and matched them. Ha ha ha. Mixed and matched the wrong ones. Right. But that's okay. I've sorted it out now. Okay. All right. Itchy. Hee hee. Right. Okay. So again, we're going to go for the 8. And we're going to highlight all the things that I need to focus on. So without a doubt, the eyes. And the head. So even doing that makes a big difference. Even just inking in the head, making his head a bit thicker. You know, the line, I mean. Even that makes a difference. Okay, and then the knife. Now I'm going to change the knife slightly because I feel like the knife should have been a bit more prominent. and look better, because it didn't. I didn't really feel like it looked that great. That's better. All right. This is one of the advantages of inking in, is sometimes you see things. Oops, I shouldn't. I need to put something underneath it. Sorry. Let me put this underneath so that I'm not going through the paper. So the thing with inking in, what's good about it is that you can see things you don't see at the beginning and fix errors and mistakes as you go along. And in some cases, you can hide them if you do it right. That's it. Let's do this hand. There we go. See, all these little things help sell it more. And obviously, his front leg's in front, so I want to make sure that's obvious. And everything else is number 4 or 5. There, 5 next. 5. I think it goes without saying that the arm here should be 5. At least the outside part of it, anyway. There we go. Now, I don't want too much of this into 5 because I want some of it to sort of fade in the background a bit. Okay. Now I'm trying to be thoughtful where everything is going to be 5. Yeah, I think that's enough for 5. I think I'll set maybe a bit on the face. A few areas on the face where I can add a little bit. That's it. All right. So 4 next. So go down one bit more. See if I can do the back of the leg. Because that way it still keeps it strong, but it still puts things behind. There we go. Okay, so I think some of this cloak can be 4, but not all of it. Because again, I need to, as it gets further and further away, I need to make sure that so does the, what's the word I'm looking for? The level of detail needs to go further away. That's it. Let's do the writing in 4 as well. Just to make it stand out a bit. So how's everybody doing this evening? Hope you're all having a good weekend. Do, 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 do. Again, it's very fiddly doing this part, but it's good to do it. The fun part will be when I get to paint it, like digitally paint, that is. That's when it will get interesting. Mm-hmm. Is it me or is it freezing a lot? Oh, it's just me. It's me. Don't worry. It's me. What's good about this live cam set on YouTube is it automatically adjusts for the level of speed you have, which is quite good. So if you don't have a very good upload speed, it adjusts rather than you having to tweak it yourself, which is quite cool. Whereas OBS and all those lot, you have to do it manually. Now I've just updated my OBS to OBS Live, and I'm hoping it's actually be better than Streamlabs. I know everybody's been rating Streamlabs, but I just have really not found it to be that good. It's just never. It's always. It's too clunky. But so far, looking at the OBS Live, actually doesn't seem to be too bad. But I haven't used it yet, so I don't know if it's going to handle my streams. The last couple of weeks have been good, but they could have been just flukes. So I'm a little nervous about using OBS Live next week, tomorrow, on Twitch, but we will see. We will see. Be nice if it did work, though. That would be awesome. I know this bit's a bit tedious, but once I've done it, I won't need to worry about it again. Okay. Whew, that's okay. That's my 4 for that. Okay, so we're going to go for the 3 now, level 3. This is to get the semi-final detail. Hope everybody's having a good evening. In case anyone just joined, what I'm doing is I'm redrawing some art entries for Jazz's competition mix and match, which is a 2016 competition. Obviously, it's long since finished, so it's not live anymore. But I just wanted to spend some time redrawing some of the original pieces that I didn't do up to a standard that I was happy with. So these are my redraws. I'm not going to do another one after this. This will be the last one I'll do on it. So if I do a new piece, it will be a brand new piece. It won't be this one, but I'm definitely not planning on doing any more redraws of mix and match, for example, once it's done. It would need to be a brand new piece. Unless I really feel that's really, really bad and it needs it. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. Okay. Now, after this, I may, well, after taking a break, I may come in and play some VR games. I need to set the room up, though. So I am thinking about it. I've not made a firm decision yet. Well, I'm going to probably do it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to stream it yet or not. I'll find out how I feel, but I am thinking about doing that. I haven't played Job Simulator, for example, in quite some time, and I haven't played Bridge Crew for some time either. And these are two of my favourite games, so it would be good to have a get back into that. So we shall see. We shall see. Okay, we're almost done. And lastly, I think we'll do level 2 for the stone, edge of the stone. And then I think we're done with this guy for today. This is just to give it a little bit more depth to it. Actually, there's a piece I could probably show you in a minute as well, if you want to sit tight. So I've just finished recently, finally coloured it in. So, well, I've finally done the traditional colouring in, but I'll show you that very, very soon. All right. Okay, so I think that's him done. Let me take my headphones off. I'm just going to get the other piece a second, so bear with me. Bear with. Where are you hiding? I need to take this out of my folder anyway. I need to scan it. There we go. Right. I was inspired fairly recently to draw the Fantastic Four, and I didn't mean that to rhyme. And this took me about 4. I think. Well, I don't know exactly now, but it's between 4 and 5 hours. I need to start logging how many hours it takes me. But this is something I did. Just finished yesterday. Finished the final colouring in. I was a bit nervous about putting the shading in, but I'm happy with the results. So I will be posting this on my Instagram shortly, plus also my other software, my other social media sites. So do look out for this one. But I am really, really pleased with how this has turned out. So yeah, I just wanted to share that very quickly with you. Let's put that one side. Right. Okay. So that's him inked in. So let's try and make some room for myself. He's done, so I don't need to do any more on him. Yeah. But the policeman I do need to ink in, so that's the next thing I need to do. This is the old Bobby. The old Bobby Davro. Right, let's put that over there a moment. In fact, shift it underneath there. And I need a piece of... I'll not use that one actually. I'll just... I did have some blank paper somewhere. Use that. No, don't want to use that. Sorry, I'm just getting disorganized here a minute. Wait a minute. Because I want to use some paper that's not going to worry about getting mucky and dirty. It's one thing I don't like drawing on is drawing on with artwork underneath. You should never do that. Never ever do that. Sorry, guys. Just trying to find. I had a big pile of plain paper here a minute ago, and I can't. Now that I need it, I can't seem to find it. Okay. Right. There we go. Okay, so this is the policeman that I was working on. I think this is the last one I need to ink in today, so, or, highlight. So the most obvious is this, so let's do that. There we go. And then the head, do the head next. And obviously his hat. Because what I'm trying to do is just trying to highlight so that the picture stands out a little bit more. And it draws your eyes to where they need to go. But I'm trying to be careful not to do too many areas so that it drowns out another. That's it. Good, good. Okay. Okay, I think that's enough of the 8, 10. Sorry. Just highlight this far side. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so that's that. So go down a notch to 5, which is this one. This is so that it stands out, but not as much, not too much. There we go. It's a tricky balance. You know, how thick do you make the lines without 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 overdoing it? It's a very difficult balance. There we go. Sticking those in slightly. Okay, getting there, getting there. Right, go 3 now. So again, not going too thick. I'm trying to make the 3 just feel like a 3. I don't want it to go higher than that. This is only because when you do line 1, it's very thin, but it also reveals, it reveals that it's a line, it's too much of an ink line. I want it to not look like someone's just inked the line in as much as possible. That's sort of the aim I'm going for. That's good. The top part of his Kevlar. His police siren shoulders. Yes, that's what it is, in case you're wondering. Okay. His little crotch protector. Now, with this was that I'm doing now, the sort of skirt thing. This was an afterthought that I did on this particular version of him. He was not in the original concept of this character. For some reason, I thought about adding it in, but I think I know what inspired me. Because there's a character called Marvin the Martian on this particular piece, and he's what I've added into this particular design. So I think subliminally, that's what I was thinking of when I added that in. That Marvin the Martian characteristic, and it kind of makes sense if you think about it. Okay. Right, we're almost done on this guy. Almost. Wow, there's a lot of lag because I'm still showing the Jekyll on picture. That's interesting. Because I'm on to the police officer now. Okay. Gonna do number 2. And I mean number 2 pen, not anything else. Before anyone says anything. Okay. His back legs a little bit thicker. Looks good. And then I'm going to go over with a number one again on that last piece. But not that number one, the other number one. Here's the other number one. Here we are. All right. So that's all these done. So let's finish up by just going through all these different characters we've been working on today. In fact, I need to bring these over because they're part of it. Just reorganize my paperwork. So I'm just making sure these are all in order. I think that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, right. So this was the competition back in 2016. These are the concept arts pieces that I had. Marvin the Martian, E.T. I think that was Jason. Might have been Jason from Halloween, but I could be wrong. No, I know who it's the Scream. That was meant to be the Scream. Actually, now thinking about it, and then Mars Attacks character. Had a few designs for the Jackal. So this was sort of me working out. Oh look, there's Robbie the Robot. I didn't even realize I did Robbie the Robot. So these are all the different sort of ideas I had in my head. So those little scribbles. Then I refined. Then I had come up with the character. This was my original concept, and apart from the eye and the general sort of look, didn't really hold on that on the actual main picture. That was a redraw of this one on different pose to try and get more of a character involved. This is just a redraw, but I really wasn't really satisfied with this at all. I don't like this at all. I just think it looks pretty awful, but it's there, it's done, whatever. This was another redraw, and I like the fact it's got that perspective on it. But what I did like about it was the alien ships they were flying. So I kind of stuck with that idea, and then I moved on to do this version. And this one was the final entry that I entered into the competition, and this is all painted. So if you want to see that, if you look at the if you go to my mix and match Albert video album on YouTube, you'll see that one down there. And if you are enjoying the stream, by the way, do feel free to drop a like and subscribe if you want to see more of these. I'm going to try and do more videos every Saturday, streams and stuff like that. To do show the love if you want to. Obviously, you're not obliged to, but do show love if you want to. So that was the piece that I entered into the competition, and then a few weeks ago, this was the reworking which we've just been completing. So this is the new version of the character that's going to go into a brand new composite of the whole piece. Went on to the policeman. So this was designing some of the alien characters. I had one sort of just standing there, staring into space. A couple of them looking scared or running away, and then the police interceptor who was going to be in the spaceship itself, the UFO, and taking him and find him a bit more. And this was the final piece that I had entered into that competition. This is what I put into the spaceship, and what I did, if I can show you, I basically superimposed him inside one of these. So these little characters here is basically him inside. So that's what I did on the original piece, and then the week after last, I finalized this new version of this character, which I'm really, really satisfied with. I feel like it really feels solid. Out of all of these redraws, I think this is one of my favorite ones from the redraw session. But that was the recreation of him. The policeman I've just been working on. This was the original version. Love the face, but the rest of it just didn't feel right to me. It didn't gel the way I wanted. So I put that one aside, tried to redraw it again. Pose was a little better, partly because I had a bit more understanding of anatomy, but still wasn't completely 100% satisfied with it. I still want to kind of refine this and ink it in just for the sake of it, but I wasn't happy with it at all. And whoops, where's it gone? And then this was the final policeman that we finished with. Did the Running Man one. This one is in the original picture. This one stayed in there. I did like it, but I did also want to do a different version, which is this female one, which I'm going to add into the new version. So this one's going to go in there, although I think I need to thicken the lines a bit. And that was, sorry, correction. That wasn't the pose and everything else, and why he's standing like that will make sense. But I don't want to do it in a drawing form because it's not going to show in drawing form. It'll only show later on. Then added some additional characters, which E.T. and Marvin the Martian, which I mentioned earlier. And this was my E.T. that I put in there. And he's crossed off phone home to phone police because he's just been strangled with a telephone. So you can get, anyone knows E.T. gets a joke on that one. And then Marvin the Martian, and he's actually been put on a spike. So he's actually on a spike. So instead of it being the guy with a dagger in his back, he's actually on a spike on it. And I love the way this piece came out, particularly on terms of the helmet. It made the helmet look really glittery and silvery, which I'm really happy with. But again, there is a video album for the mix and match, so do check that out. I hope you like it. And then finally, I've just got all the background elements. I'll just show you them all in one. These are all different planets. This is the one I used in the actual piece. No, actually, it wasn't this one. So this is the one I used in the ending piece. But these are some of the other concepts I had. So I want to redesign this a little bit and make it look a bit more special. I kind of like the way this one feels, but I like some aspects of these different pieces that I want to add into it. So that is that. Let's see, it's 1:35. So what I'm going to think I'll do is, just to finish up, I'm going to have a go at one of the other pieces, other Droid Jazza competitions, and redraw those ones. So this time I am going to choose, if I can get this out, this is the Rogue Star one. So very quickly, again, these competitions have finished. They're not available anymore. So don't enter them in. I'm just doing this to redraw some of the things that at the time I didn't have the skill to accomplish. So this was the Rogue Star competition back in 2015. And the idea was to recreate a Star Wars type poster for this tabletop game that the Droid Jazza did. And these were some of the characters, just to show you. These were the characters that he had in that particular comic strip. In fact, there's characters in there I haven't even included in my picture. So I could potentially put some more of these in. But this is basically a story that he did. And these are the images that he came up with. And we had to incorporate those into our own little story. So what I did, made some little concepts. So this is sort of the basic idea that I had, with the two guys sort of shooting out and firing at each other. You know, him holding the woman in his arms and she's shooting the opposite direction. And that theme has stayed throughout the art piece. Tried to rough out the ship to get an idea how it was going to come towards the camera. And again, just some concept pieces to try and work out how I was going to do the poster design and things like that. Oops. In here, I was just trying to work the characters through and figure out where all the characters are going to be and what they're going to do. And now we're going into actual design. So these are some of the designs I had. There was a character called John in it that apparently got killed very early on. So that was kind of an in-joke to that. Little Jazza avatar who's going to appear in one of these ships. I can't remember the name of these ships. And a little wine bottle or lager bottle. And now we're getting into some of the more specific concepts I had for this piece. I wanted to say there was two characters, Hashish and Riot, and there was a bit of to do with him and her were kind of had a little fling or whatever in the story. So I wanted to kind of emphasize that, and I had the idea in my head that he was a bit like the Star Wars pose where he's holding somebody and he's firing a gun. And so I chose an old black and white picture as a reference, but I also had her doing the same thing, so she was joining in the battle. So it wasn't just him firing his gun, but he was actually being a party of it. And this was the basic. This piece here was the actual concept piece, what the concept idea that I had, and the sort of general idea I had for the poster. Although I don't think I ever added him on the poster, which I should have done, but I didn't. I think it might be a good thing to add. But that was a general idea of the poster. This is my original Hashish, sorry. Honestly, I liked it. I liked the idea in the pose, but my anatomy skills was rubbish. It just wasn't up to any kind of standard. But I took this idea and I had to do a couple of other versions of it. But this was the first original version I used. I don't think this is the one I used in the actual piece. This was the second attempt, but it actually looked worse. I mean, in terms of the basic pose and things, I think it was better, but it was just so off. I wasn't happy with this at all. And then did another version here. This wasn't so bad. I mean, I look at this now; it's actually not that great, but this wasn't so bad a version. But I have since done a much better version, which you will see shortly. Then I had Atlas, and there's this thing about this orb or some sort of orb that's in the story. And with this Atlas piece, I wanted to have him running with the orb in his hand. So I was trying to get that, and I was fairly happy with that. I mean, looking at it, I can see areas where I could probably need to improve on it, but I'm happy with the way generally this one looked. And then you got 2E. Now with this one, I wasn't as creative as I could have been with this one, because the piece here wasn't too different from that, and I was trying to be a bit more creative. But it wasn't bad, but it wasn't too, wasn't excellent. This is Riot. Now this is the original Riot I think I used. Did I use the one? No. I think now which one I used. Yeah, I think this is the original Riot that I used in the main piece. Actually, I don't know. Actually, sorry, I'm trying to think which one I used. I'm pretty sure it was this one I used in the final rendition. But these are some of the versions I had. Not too bad. That was probably the best proportionally, but again, still not up to scratch. And I don't know what was happening here. I don't know what was happening in this one. This one just looks ridiculously silly. But I have since made a much more refined version of this a couple of years ago. And hopefully you can see the anatomy is vastly improved. The anatomy is much better on this. I'm a lot happy with this. I think poster-wise, it would be much better. Everything on this I like better. I mean, still, there's still areas I can work on and get better, but as a whole piece, I'm much more happy with this. She's not firing a gun this time, but I still like the piece as it stands, and the faces look a lot better. The ship is really tricky because it's an odd shape for the ship, so that did take a while to get it drawn, and not totally happy with that, but I can rework that at some point. This ship was actually a redrawing of something that was in that some other artist had done, but again, it was in with the in line with the actual cartoon itself. So that was what was the word I'm looking for? So this was totally acceptable within the competition rules. And then lastly, we had this little wing craft. Looking at it now, I think there's some proportional issues there, but again, that's something I can fix and change later on. But for the most part, that I'm quite pleased with that one. So that was all the entry pieces. But what I feel like I need to do is just go through and just change it, just to redraw a couple of the characters. So let's start by doing that. So first of all, let me get a picture of the main character, one of those characters. So it's going to be one of these two characters. I'm thinking 2EE, but what, either that or Atlas. I'm not too sure yet. So let's put that over the side, put that over there. Right. I think it should be Atlas. Sorry, 2EE, because the pose is quite good on him. So let's move. Right, I'm just going to try and make myself a little bit of room. Because I don't want to mix up the papers too much. Because I want some reference in front of me so as I do this. Ugh. So that's all my reference. If I leave that one over there as my main reference, so this is the one I'm going to try and redraw. So here we go. Phil. Now, where's my spare paper? Right, now I'm trying to think. How I'm going to do this. Because I do like that pose, but I just want to make it just that bit more punchy. So I'm just trying to. I'm really roughing this out right now. So you probably can't see much what's going on right now. Because I'm just trying to really rough it. I'm trying to do some foreshortening on the arm here. That's sort of what I'm trying to achieve here. Okay. Try and get this. I think the posture's okay. It's just getting making this arm look, because I'm trying to get it so that it feels like it's coming at you as much as I can. Ooh, sorry, just knocked the camera. Brilliant. Ooh. Trying to think now. Okay, potentially that could be right. That could work potentially. Okay, so let's do a quick erase of other elements, so I'm not distracted by that. Okay, so let's go the next level up. Oh, looks like I've frozen again. Okay. Do. Okay. Okay, I think we've got something. We've got something going on here, right? Where'd that come from? Mickey, battle music. Why is that on battle music? Not sure where that's come from. Right, I think that's the end of the battle music. Or is it? Okay. Okay, I think this might work. I think this will work. Just got to get that angle right. Try and bring it out a bit more. Try and bring it out even more. I know it's going off page. Can I rein it in a bit? Try and rein it in. Just trying to make it too off the page if I can help it. There we go. I think that's it. I think that's it. I think I got it. Yeah, I'm going to have to force it a little bit, I think. But I think ultimately it's there. I think the big difference in this one and the one I did before is can you? I haven't muted, have I? No, I'm muted. I think the biggest difference this one on the previous one is I'm really trying to invent here as opposed to just copying what I've done before, what the piece is actually, the original artist, because the actual artwork is this, the actual design work was done by Jazza. The actual characters is Josiah Brooks, aka Jory Jazza's actual characters, and I'm just recreating the piece of work that I did when he actually had the competition in place. The difference it being though is when I finish this, I will add a lot more of my own personal inflections into it. That's sort of the goal anyway. So it'd be interesting to see how this is going to pan out. Hopefully it'll be good. Okay, so I think I've got all the elements in there. Now he does have these little things on his feet. Okay. All right, so let's go to the next level. So I'm not going to go on for much longer, but going to try and do a bit more work on it. I'm going for just a little over 2 hours, so we'll see how far we get with this. But then next week we'll finish off this one. We'll carry on with this one next week. But let's see how much we can get done now. Okay. Again, the difference here is also I learned a little bit more about 3D and that kind of stuff as well. So I'm trying to, not 3D, well, I suppose it's 3D in a sense. But in terms of just, what's the word I'm looking for? Perspective. That's it. Now, I don't know what the side of his head looks like, so that'd be interesting to construct. Okay, so he's got some sort of pipes coming out here. Thanks for joining this evening, everybody. Hope you enjoying the stream. In case you're wondering and you're not sure if you haven't been here before, I'm redrawing some art entries for the Jory Jazza piece. Did some a few years ago. The competition has actually ended, but at the time my certain skills I was not quite there with some of the skill levels that I needed to be. So I decided to actually go back and redraw some of these characters that were part of his Rogue Star tabletop time competition. So hopefully you're enjoying the process. And if you do like what you're seeing, please do feel free to drop a little like and follow if you want to see more. If you want to see more of these kind of streams, hopefully you do. But if you don't, that's fine. But I do appreciate you coming along. This is a character called 2EE. I believe he's got a longer name to him. But he's a robotic character from the Draw Jazza tabletop time thing he did a while back. And I'm just trying to keep it as part of a poster, a redrawing of a poster we did a while back. I'm definitely liking how this guy's turning out so far. He's looking all right at the minute. Yeah, we don't want all these drums. So let me change the music actually. Let's have a change of theme. That's all my battle music, but I think it's time to change it now a little bit. Yeah, let's get this line here. This line feels weird there. Where's my eraser gone? Oh, where's that gone? Okay, I've misplaced my eraser, so I'll have to come back to that. That's annoying. That is annoying. Oh, there it is. There it is. Because the arm's going to be more behind him a bit. Just try and get the angle of this blade to look right. There we go. Right. Just a couple of little wires sticking out there. And then number 8. There we go. Do thank you for joining me. I do thank you for joining me this evening. I hope you're enjoying it. Do feel free to ask questions as well if you want to ask anything or say hi or whatever. I may not reply straight away, so I do apologise if that's the case. But don't think I'm ignoring you, because I will definitely reply as soon as I see your message. So do be patient with things like that. So, but I do appreciate you being here. This is a very different version than the one that I did in the competition, and even the one that he drew. But I'm kind of liking him. He's got more of an organic look about it. The one thing I am trying to do, though, is I'm trying to keep the designs that he had as much as possible in this, so I'm not missing anything. But I'm also trying to enhance it a bit as well. Because his character has got a kind of a gas marsky kind of face to him. In fact, what I might do is, once I've done this, I might just re-show him and say, look, this is what I've done. This is my new version of it. Now, I don't know what's on the side of his head, so I'm going to put an 08 on it. Rather than just assuming what's there, I'm going to just put the same detail. Do you know, I wish I could have drawn him like this when I had the competition. Because it would have made for a much different entry. Just trying to get this looking sweet. Right, I'm going to use some artistic license now. Just infuse my own elements in there. Giving him a bit more of a robotic knees and things like that. Just adding a little extra. No props, Pete. No props. Right, so this little bar here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give him a little bit of an air vent just here. Yeah, so what I'm going to try and do is just want to add a little bit, just a little bit of something, just to give it a little extra character. Now, is there actually more detail on the legs? There is a bit, actually. I'm taking, I can't really fully see what's on there, but just adding a little bit of something. Okay, so let's get rid of this little line here. Seems to be something extra bit there. So it's not a very clear picture, so I'm just trying to improvise here a bit. Okay, I can't quite see what is there, but I kind of feel like I need to put some sort of connecting vein or something like that. All right, let's take it one more notch and then we'll call it a night, I think. Let's try and really bring this out. So don't want to ink this in just yet until I'm 100% happy with it. For example, this top bit here looks weird, so I'm going to get rid of this segment. And up here as well. Make that a bit neater. Okay, let's clean this out a bit. Let's flip you around. In case you're joining for the first time and you don't know what these characters are from Drowageza's Rogue Star tabletop time. And it was part of a 2015 competition called Rogue Star, where you had to design a poster based off these game characters, and this is a reworking of one of those pieces. Hmm. Tell you what, I am going to get my big guns out and get my graph gear going. What's good about this pencil, I should say, is it's very fine line and really grabs the detail nicely. It's going to make this piece show a lot more. Has the camera moved? Was it just me? Okay, some details are coming in, which is good. The reason I'm using this because I want to try and not only make the details a bit clearer, but I want to add some really, really refined details. I can't do that with the other pencils I'm using at the moment. I don't think they're quite up to that ability. I'm liking this. This is good. This is good. This is good. This is good. I'm in silent mode again because of the fine detail. Again, a little bit of the artistic license, add in a bit of extra detail in it. I'm almost James raising it up. Ha 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 ha. I'm not entirely happy with the posture, but you know what? It is what it is. Still better than the original. So that's almost important, more important. This is certainly more creative than the original. think what's good about this piece, even if the proportions aren't 100% on point, is it feels much more. I can't think of the word. It just feels there's more creativity gone into it on this particular version, which is good. Just trying to really be different. Just making some more adjustments as we go along. And little tiny little details. This is kind of, this bit's a sort of a beam of light sword, similar to a lightsaber, but more blade-like. Anyone in chat? No, not yet. Okay, that's cool. I say each time I'm doing a different bit, I'm just adding new elements that are different to what was originally in the original piece, just make it more my own. Even though the actual base design is actually Jazz's.